The citizens' investigation into Trump's assassination attempt continues. Today, we are going to cover all of the audio analysis and evidence that points to the idea that there were two shooters, in addition to a Secret Service sniper and an emergency services gun. 4 weapons fired that day. We have the evidence, and we're going to bring it to you. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Chris Martenson, leading the citizens' investigation into the Trump shooting. And we have to cover some really astonishing evidence here today. And let's start with this. Okay, we're going to go through a quick timeline just so we're all oriented. And then we're going to go through an audio analysis of the shots. I've been just digging in. I've been eating like an animal, hardly sleeping. I've got many hours just in the past 2 days into this particular analysis. This cements it for me. Let me know what you think. Here's the timeline as we have it. At 5:06, video shows Crooks walking around what is called Building 6. That's the AGR, American Glass Research Company. That's what they call it. So we might as well too. Let's stop calling things different things. Building 6, that is the one that Crooks died on. At 5:14, a Beaver County Emergency Services Unit agent, hereby we'll call them ESU agents, snapped 2 pictures, and we believe his name is Greg now because of a video that came out just yesterday that showed a helmet cam view from the roof. So ESU agent Greg, we think, snapped 2 pictures of Thomas Crooks from the second floor of the building that overlooked Building 6, where he was. It allegedly shared this photo with law enforcement. According to articles, we don't know what that means, but we're going to guess that means maybe Pennsylvania State Police, because Secret Service is notified by Pennsylvania State Police at 5:51 of a suspicious person with a rangefinder on the ground. And later we see a rangefinder pulled out of the pocket of Crooks, or whoever that is, dead on the roof. Pretty sure it's Crooks, though. At 5:52, Secret Service shares this information with a counter sniper team, or teams, I don't know what, but the way the article's written says counter sniper team, and response agents on the ground. I don't know what a response agent is in this context. That's how the article put it. But that means that at 5:52, Secret Service is in possession of information that says, hey, we got a suspicious person. And it's a full 11 minutes later that Donald J. Trump takes the stage. So that's a little dodgy already, because why not hold him off for a few more minutes while you resolve the suspicious person thing? And by the way, the timing couldn't be more awkward, because at 6:09, we have people on the ground spotting Crooks on the roof of Building 6 with a rifle and begin very excitedly alerting police officers on the ground to this fact. From 6:09 to 6:11:33, that's 2.5 interminable minutes. Police are walking around the base of the building. They know that there's a unknown male on the roof with a gun, with a rifle even. People are being clear about this, right? And you've heard all the things. He's got a gun. And people are yelling this out. It is unknown what the ESU are doing at this point on the second floor from their Overwatch spot, but I'm going to show you some data that suggests this is really an awkward story for them. We're going to need answers right away. But eyewitness Greg Smith claimed that they were looking right at the shooter. He's like, yeah, they were there. I was looking at them. They were looking at him on the roof. So this really needs to be chased down. We really need to understand this. Greg Smith, please. Got a fly in here. Greg Smith, please. Just be as careful as you can. And if you have any video you've shot, please upload it to the cloud, share it with as many friends as you can. Anybody who's got evidence, data, do not let your phone into official law enforcement hands so they can look for evidence on it that you might have accidentally captured as you were shooting that day without first downloading that and securing that same information. Okay? Be helpful, but also be cautious. And it was at 6:11:33 that the first shots ring out. Okay. These are the audio sources that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're analyzing all of them, and we can tell a lot from. One is very important. Obviously, that's Trump's mic. It's right there on the podium with him. If anybody knows the make and model of that mic, very appreciated. I have some requests at the back end of this for more information, and people, thank you so much. So many people have been flooding in. It's been absolutely wonderful. Right now, though, what we really need is we need data. We don't need more conclusions or hypotheses about what might happen, how to put the data together yet. We're still at the data stage. So please, if we have more data, that would be helpful, particularly audio data, pictures, videos, any of that. So number one is Trump's mic. Number two is a video that's between Trump and the shooters, whoever they were, back at the building complex there. Number three is this Root video, which I'm calling it because that came to me from the Root. You can see the Twitter address down there. And that one's past Trump. So we have three mics in a line, gives us a lot of information, although number three is a little off to the side too, but it's past Trump. 4 and 5, however, these are super important. These are taken from the side of the building, okay? And this is the side of the building where the Crooks was on. And these are where shots rang out. And they give us a very clear sense of some very important things. So I'm so glad to have those. This is what it looks like on a map. This is Trump's mic right here on the podium. Here's number 2. I had moved it back to here. I'm moving it back to here today because I made another assessment of that video. There's actually a fence line right here. And so this perfectly aligns. So this is spot 2. Obviously, this is where Crooks was found on the roof of Building 6. Here is the 2-story Overwatch building. Recordings 4 and 5 are off to the side of this building. Very important recordings. If anybody has more from that area, stupid important. If you can get them to us, we can do a lot with it. And then this is the Root video out here past Trump again, but just off to the side a little bit. So here's the shots. Let's just make sure we're all absolutely clear about this. If we say this first bullet, so everything here is just keyed off of Trump's mic at the moment. The moment that first bullet nicks his ear, it makes a snicking, a supersonic snick right on the audio. That's our T equals 0 in this whole thing. We're starting there because we're going to orient everything from Trump's mic, which is a fabulous piece of evidence. It's fixed in space. It's not wobbling around. It's it's right in the center of the action. We can tell a lot from it, and we have much more to analyze as we go forward. But for now, we say here that we start this at T equals 0, first snick. The next shot was 0.85 seconds later. After that, 1.5 seconds after the first shot. So that's just not giving the time between shots, but just is just a running ordering of time. And then there's a little bit of a break. And then there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And by the way, we're missing this snick on the tape from Trump's mic. I'm going to explain why. I'm pretty sure comparator. Oh, I misspelled that. That's comparator with an A where that E is. Comparator is going to, I think his head actually prevented that bullet from traveling to the microphone where we could hear it. And then we have the 7th, 8th shot. And then we have a 9th shot here, which we hear clearly on all the tapes from the citizens who are there at spots 1, 4, and 5. So they all pick it up. It's a very clear shot. I'm going to play it for you so you hear it. It's picked up on all the sources 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's even out there on Root's video, but we can't hear it on Trump's mic. I'm going to explain why not. The mystery has been resolved. And then there is a possible shot. It's on source 2 only. I'm not clear. It's very distant. A lot of people have listened to it with me, and they've said, sounds like a shot, but we have no further confirmation for that. So we're leaving that as just a big mystery for later. And then finally, the last shot here, shot 10 at 15.794 seconds after the first one. All the sources agree, and that's the Secret Service sniper. I'm pretty sure this missing shot here, what we're calling shot 9, this is the ESU shooter taking a shot at Crooks. So if that's true, and they hit him, and I believe they did, then it raises a lot of questions we have to answer, such as why isn't that on the timeline, and why are we not talking about that, and why are Christopher Wray and then the former director of the Secret Service, Cheadle, who, thanks to investigations like this, I think felt too much pressure. And I'm thankful for everybody who's put pressure on, who just said this is BS right from the get-go. And that came from a lot of angles, right? Obviously, the site was mismanaged and how the assets were arranged and the big Pac-Man hole missing. There's so many unexplained things that obviously this wasn't just a comprehensive failure. This was something much more than that. And now we're adding up the data to do that. But this is why it's so important. We have to stick to the data right now. Because as we do that, it's going to force the investigation to have to include that data. Otherwise, they'll come to their conclusions and later we'll put the data back on. But it's already been pre-concluded. First to the gun matters here. So we're going to force them to have to account for the information and the data that we're surfacing here. All right, so these are all the shots here in sequence. So this is taken from source number 2. Again, this is the best recording we've got. from the audience. So this is the audience member that's between Trump and the AGR buildings where the shots came from. We can clearly see shots 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and here's shot 9. And by the way, I'm going to sort of give a little foreshadowing. Do you notice how shot 1 has a very different sort of a height, different amplitude? It just looks smaller and weaker over there, and it is smaller and weaker over there. These are both stronger and have stronger echoes, with an echo being out here. This is also occluded with voices, so it's not totally clear from just staring at it. But shot 1 has a very different characteristic and sound and echo characteristic than any of the others. So we'll look at that and look at what we think that means. All right, going back now from source 1, we're at Trump's mic. This is very important just to establish this. This is shot 1. This is the bullet. This is its supersonic trace. We hear that. That's the one that went past his ear right there. And then 0.220 seconds later, we get report 1. The gunshot sound actually arrives at the mic. And the reason for that, again, is because the bullet and the sound leave the barrel at the same time, but the bullet's the hare and the sound is the tortoise. And the hare gets there much before the tortoise in this race story. So that's why you hear the bullet first and then the sound of the gun. So if you were, gross, but if you were being shot by a sniper, the bullet hits you way before you hear a sound to identify, let you know that a shot is coming in. It's like slap. In that order. So that's what we see, and it's perfect. Shot 1 with the report. Then shot 2 comes in with a report. At 0.21 seconds is a gap between these two pieces right here. This could be telling, but it's well within the margin of error. It would suggest that this gun was just a little further away because it took the sound from the gun a little bit longer to get to the microphone than it did the bullet. So we are going to need much more careful analysis on this. But if that's true, then it would also explain that potentially report 1 is from a very different weapon because it's slightly further away. But we don't know, because it could be that the factory standard cheapo ammo that Crooks was using has a variance that accounts for all of that, because, you know, the bullets are flying at all sorts of different velocities. We don't know that yet. So we're going to have to wait until we have more analysis. I'm just holding it out as an interesting idea. And then shot 3 at 0.213 seconds from the snick to the report. The speed of sound that day in Butler was 1,203.6 feet per second, taking into account temperature, humidity, and elevation. So with all of that, that's what we know. And so we're starting to get a fairly conclusive look at what happened. Now, the first shot from source 2, again, really, shot 1 stands out as different. The first thing we're going to notice is it's noticeably quieter. So this is the amplitude. So the louder something is, the higher it rises up on these bars on the program, the audio program. And you can see here that both the top peak of this is way below these other top 2 peaks. And also the bottom peak the valley is not as low as these other ones. These are definitively louder shots than 2 and 3 than 1. Now, how would that fit? Speculating completely, don't hold me to this, but if a sniper, a professional, was going to shoot, they're probably only going to take 1 shot, and they missed that shot. So the head turned at just the last minute, there but for an inch go we, and everything would be different today if Trump hadn't turned his head at the last second, and this is a known fact. All right, so that's a possibility that somebody took 1 shot and then other shots start firing after that to account for that. So there's a very different shape here. And as well, if we look at from the same recording from source 2, shots 4 through 9, we can see here, this is how it's registering these other 5 shots, very rapid. As I covered in an earlier piece, these things are being shot at a pace that would be consistent with somebody who's highly trained, assuming they were accurate. Later, I can show you that they were accurate enough that these bullets were snicking over Trump's microphone, and one of them hit Corey Compatore in the head, ending his life. So these bullets at least were being fired accurately enough to be recorded downrange, as it were, over Trump's mic and in the unfortunate case of Corey Compatore. And then here is shot 9 right here. So let's just step in here for a second, and I want to let's listen in. So I've slowed, so the tempo of this is 120 on, it's just the number, right? But at full speed, listening to this in real time, so a second equals a second, there's 120 beats in there. So what I've done is I've slowed it down to 50 so that our human ears can wrap themselves around the shots just a little bit more. And I've done two things. First, we're just going to listen to those first three shots slowed down. Then we're going to listen to 4 through 9, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus one more, okay? And then what I've also done here is, well, I'll get to that in just a second. Let's just start here. So this is shots, just the first three shots, again, source 2. All right, let me make that a little louder for everyone, because that deserves to be full volume. Again, first three shots. Again. I think you can hear for yourself how shot 1 is quieter. It's just a little bit more muffled, just a little bit, but distinctly has a different characteristic. This is going to become amazingly obvious when we turn to the videos from the side of the building. But here we are in front. And this is important, okay? Because here's the theory we're working on. If it turns out there were two shooters back there and they were coincident, meaning they put them as close as possible, both facing the same direction, because obviously they want the shots to go towards Trump and I guess, but at least, the first shot nicked his ear. So we're going to assume that first shot was designed to go towards Trump. And we know that Crooks had a gun and it was facing towards Trump and the crowd. So with that, this from source 2, they are between Trump and the crowd and where the shots are coming from. Okay. So with that, any gun facing them is going to have a remarkably similar sound, but one that's located in a building or in a room trying to shoot out a window, it's going to eat some of that sound, because that's just how this all works, right? So that's how a suppressor, or what the people call a silencer, not silencers, they're suppressors. They knock the sound down. They have a can, literally just a can of air in essence, with baffles sitting in front of, at the end of the rifle barrel. And when the explosive gas comes out, it expands into that suppressor, and that eats a lot of its sound. The bullet travels through a hole in the center, so it carries on, but the sound gets impeded. If there was a gun back from a window a little bit, the sound is going to eat some of that. The room is going to eat some of that sound. It's just how it is, okay? So again, listen to these three and listen to the first one very carefully. One more time. Admittedly, it's subtle. Now we're going to listen to shots 4 through 9. Listen particularly if you hear any difference in those first 5, but then listen to that last one. Whoa, that last one, wildly different. And I haven't done anything to modify the sound. One isn't boosted compared to another. These are all pulled exactly from the raw files. Nothing else done to them, except I've just pulled the little clips out for both of these. No other enhancements. I've done nothing. Absolutely, you have my word on that. That one's totally different for sure. No question about that. Okay, now what I've done here, I've done a little bit of editing in the sense that I've just clipped some time out between all of the shots 1 through 3, and then the gap to 4 through 9, just to push them all together, so I don't have to go from one file to the other, so you can hear them in one context, start to finish. So let me see if I did that. Yeah. So here's what it looks like. I clipped them. You can see what I did. I left these with the original spacing, but I just took the time out between these just to crush them together. So this is the exact shape of the sound file that I edited. This is what it looks like. This is what you're hearing now. Again. I could make the argument that 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kind of sound the same, but 1 is just off. It's just a little off. I'm not sure about the whole thing between 2 and 3. 9 is obviously, come on, that's totally different. All right. So maybe it's not as conclusive as you might want, but I'm just setting it up. This is the best, clearest thing. And this is from source 2, where there's buildings and all the shots are being directed towards this microphone. Okay. So very glad we have that. All right. So again, we're here. Now we're going to go to source 4, because what we were just hearing, if there was a shooter in a window, or, you know, it was Crooks taking all of them, these shots were all headed this way. And this microphone was thankfully right in between these two things. So anybody who has more video from that area, boy, we need it really bad. But now we're going to 4 and 5, and these are to the side of this whole complex. And this is where things really begin to get pretty interesting. Okay, so source 4 now has a lot of background noise. You can see it already. See all these big fat blue, sorry, I don't have my laser pointer out. See all these big fat blue areas. There's a lot of noise. There's people yelling, screaming, and talking to each other and making noise, but you can clearly hear 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is the heights of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When I draw over, 1, 2, and 3 are wicked muffled. So a lot of people said, oh, well, maybe that camera was just facing the wrong way for 1, 2, and 3, and then it's facing the right way. In truth, these, your cell phone, where's mine? Yeah. This thing has an omnidirectional mic. Most cell phones do. And they have omnidirectional mics for videoing, because you want the sound of the waves and the water and your partying friends or whatever. It's designed to pick up the sound from all around. That's its job. It's trying to recreate that. So let's listen in. But we have 2 separate videos, both of them giving us the exact same signature from here. So that's what the whole thing looks like. Now we're going to listen in to what this sounds like. And again, you're going to have to listen a little carefully, because we have a lot of background noise. Ooh, listen to that. Here we go. 1, 2, 3 don't sound at all like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 9 is obviously, we've established that's its own thing. Clearly. Obviously it is. One more time. Seems pretty clear to me that we have to at least keep open the possibility that 1, 2, 3 don't really share, that there's something different about those compared to the rest. Okay, so there's a couple of other ways I can analyze this. We can look at, there's echoes in here, and the echoes don't quite match. There's a lot of things that are different about this. So the sound characteristics of 1, 2, 3 are just different. Okay, now, could be a lot of innocent explanations maybe. I don't know, maybe Crooks took let's imagine he took all 8 shots. He took the first 3 lying down, and his barrel is sneaking over the roof of that building, and it's pointed way down range there. But then he gets a little flustered, and he kneels up, and he's firing from a higher position. Could be, all right? But we're going to need video to be sure, and I really wish the people who'd been videoing that had kept on Crooks while he was up there. That would have resolved the entire mystery. If anybody has that video, boy, we all need it. How he actually is behaving, anybody with video of Crooks on the roof, even if you just have the roof line and we can't see him, but we could then reasonably surmise that he didn't lift up to fire different sets of shots, that would be helpful too. Okay, one last time. Boy, that's different. Okay, so a quick explanation for source 4 here. Let's look at these echoes really quickly. So this is the shot. Sorry. I'll learn how to drive my system. Red dot shows the shot, and then this is an echo right here. It looks a lot like the shot, but there's a surface here that's close enough to pull that off. So this is the rapid fire string of 5 shots. So this is shots 4 through 9. Okay. And here we can see that there's an echo here, and there's an echo here. And I'm just taking the same length blue arrows and copy pasting them. When you do that, I put this gray arrow here because there's no echo here, but it's eaten up by a shot. So the shot, where we would have heard the echo, it's swamped out by the shot itself that's coming in. And then here's the last shot, and here it's got a perfect echo. So we can see these echoes in here. And by the way, shot 9 over here has no echo. That's totally wherever it's being shot from, whatever's happening with shot 9, it's not obviously in the same category as these other ones. And of course, we're not that surprised. Look, we already know there's another shot we have to be looking for, right? We know there's a Secret Service sniper shot, and I can show you exactly where that is. No mystery. Everything lines up. The snap over the microphone, the timings, everything. Perfect. No problem. That's all the way out 15 seconds, 15.8 seconds after the first shot. But we still need to account for a Beaver Services ESU shot, right? Because they tell us that, right? Local police sniper fired a shot at Crooks. Butler County District Attorney Richard Goldinger confirms. He said his understanding that the shot that killed Crooks was fired by the Secret Service. So the question then emerges, if that shot 9 is a shot by the ESU and they shoot Crooks, but they don't kill him, why did they not keep shooting? And also, how were they in a position to take a shot at him? And where were they? And we really need to know who was in the room in that Overwatch building at the time the shooting happened. This is all elementary stuff. We would like to rule it out. If it turned out there was nobody in that second floor for reasons, well, we'd ask why. Like, are you kidding me? There's a suspicious guy walking around. People are being notified. We know that the Secret Service has been notified, the Pennsylvania State Police, the ESU, everybody's been notified that there's a suspicious character. And then there are people yelling, there's a dude on the roof with a rifle. How are you not in that second floor dealing with the situation? Don't know. We're going to have to talk about that. So this is the open window right here that we see in this helicopter overflight. Again, I don't know if that window was open at the time the firing happened. Don't know that. We would like to establish that. So if you have any images, anybody was sort of randomly panning over this way, either during the shooting, especially, but even just shortly afterwards, we need to see that window in a bad way, because that window is just a chip shot right here. I mean, I could imagine somebody leaning out that window, taking a shot, and we would have a very different echo characteristic because there's a window there to block the sound. The sound of that rifle is obviously going to be very different from the sound of a AR-15. So everything lines up for shot 9 to have been taken from that plot spot right there, because I don't know where else would you have taken that shot from to shoot him, whether you killed him or not. But I'm pretty sure he was killed. Because, again, my logic is, if you were a trained LEO, law enforcement officer, you were trained that if you shoot somebody, you got to keep shooting till they stop moving, right? If you hit them in the brain box and you can clearly see you've hit them in the head and down they go and the circuitry's out and it's lights out, okay, fine. You can do one shot. But if you hit him in the body or the legs or anywhere else, the first rule, like this is what they teach you in gun class. When you shoot somebody with a pistol, you know what happens next? They keep doing whatever they were doing, right? So unless you hit them in the brain box, you hit somebody in anywhere in their torso, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. So the idea that we only have one shot, and the only shot we have is shot 9 that could possibly be from the ESU, I'm going to have to guess it was a headshot. That's the only thing that would fit with the data, because we have that shot in another like 8 or 9 seconds long until that final sniper inbound comes in. If you've taken a shot and he's still moving, what are you doing for 8 or 9 seconds? That's a long time when you're on the other end. You got somebody in your crosshairs and it's a chip shot away. That's obviously something that we would have to discuss. Now, a lot more to discuss here because we got to get through this, because this is really, really important. We're getting somewhere finally. Okay, let's go back to Trump's mic a bit. We have to talk about some mysteries that are down in his mic. It's creating a lot of confusion out there for other people who are analyzing this. So I'd like to do what I can to see if I can clear the air. I think I've done it. It took a while. I admit it took a lot of effort. My brain was smoking for a while, no question. Shot number 6 is missing from Trump's mic. The bullet itself, the snick, we don't hear it. It's just completely missing from Trump's mic. And we've got a mystery to resolve because there's 2 reports missing from Trump's mic. And then, well, anyway, so here we can see clearly when I get my laser pointer out, we got shot 1, 2, 3, this gap, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's this mystery shot, which I'm going to have to save for a later episode because I don't have a clue what that thing is. And then we have the final sniper round out here. And this is a big, fat, energetic thing here. And I'm going to tell you, see this funny shape where there's all this fat blue And then you see the snick from the sniper round passing over Trump's mic, and then it's like it looks like this cone bell shape here. I'm going to explain why we have that little mysterious pinch, why the sound seems to go away there. But let's go through the mystery first. There is a supersonic sound missing. We have a snick from the bullet here in 4. This is a clear inbound snick. This is a round coming in. This one is missing. There should be a snick right under this arrow exactly. This other line that's close to it here, this is the snick plus the report. So that's the crack of the supersonic crack of the bullet coming over the mic. And then this is the report from the gun. Boom. Right? Boom. So this boom, this line right here is the report from this shot, from shot 5. So that's the bullet from shot 4, the report from the gun from shot 4, the bullet from shot 5, the report from the gun from shot 5, but where is the snick? Where is the bullet for shot 6? Well, I'm pretty sure that's the one that would be consistent with the fact that Corey Competor's head got between the microphone and the bullet and the shooter. So that's how we explain the missing snick. So that's why this sound file is confusing a lot of people, because they're trying to account for a bullet that it isn't there. It didn't show up at the mic. And then we have 2 here, snick, snick. They're really close together because, as I said, again, in an earlier episode, whoever's doing this firing is doing it at really fast speeds. Now, this is important, though, because 4, 5, and 6, which ended up in Corey Competor's head, and 7, 8, all of these bullets are aimed well enough that they are downrange and they are being picked up on Trump's mic. Now, what I don't know is how many feet away can you be with a .223 round and no longer be able to hear that snick. If you're really far away, it goes to 0. Somewhere really close to it, it's a very, very high sound signature. So the highest the sound signature can be, as far as I'm concerned, would have been from shot 1, because that went right by his ear. Okay. Now, it ends up being about the same height as this one here, number 4. Now, I don't know what that means, because it's possible that all of these are way too loud for this microphone to actually deal with. And so 4 it doesn't go higher than the height of 4. That's it. Or 7. Like, that's as high as it can go, because the microphone is just saturated and it can't manage any more than that. So again, a lot depends on how we're going to analyze that microphone. Okay, and what its capabilities are. So then, snick, snick, we have these 2 bullets coming in fast. We're missing the reports, or the booms, and I'll show you what we're missing. We're missing 2 reports, 2 gunshot are missing from this mic. I'll explain where they went. But this is the snick boom. This fits again. So 4, 5, and 8, everything's fine. 6, 7, we got some missing things we're going to have to deal with. And here's how we explain those. So first we have, now what I've done is I've taken the 5 shots that we took off of source 2, and I lined those booms up, stacked them so that they line up with the booms that are recorded on Trump's mic. So everything should line up if we line up those sounds, even though they happened at slightly different times, because the boom was heard a little bit earlier on source 2's mic than it was on Trump's mic. But when we line it up, it helped clarify everything. So I just slide them till they line up. And here we can see this boom lines up perfectly with this boom, and this boom lines up perfectly with this boom, but there should be a boom right here. It's missing. There should be a boom right here. It's missing. And then we're back on track because we got a boom right here. So where did these 2 booms go? What happened? Well, you'll notice we have 2 inbound snicks here, and these are very loud. And here's what happened. This is a real blow up here of the very first snick that comes in. And here you can see the ambient noise is this loud, and then the snick comes in, and some sort of a gating function or limiter or something happens within the microphone or the microphone system, and this is dead quiet for the next 15, 20 milliseconds. It's just dead quiet. You can't hear anything. It's like almost nothing. It's like plenty of background hiss and ambient noise, and it drops down. So my guess is when the microphone hears the pop of that bullet going overhead, it's like, oh, shoot. And then it slowly opens it back up again to sound, which you can see happening starting about here. And it slowly opens it up, and we get back to ambient noise. So and then it's a slow opening. It just gates it back open again very carefully and cautiously. Okay. And so this is what it sounds like. I've slowed this down from the tempo of 120 all the way down to 5. So this is going to sound like we are speaking waves. So this is going to be very weird. But all I want you to listen for here to help explain this is the ambient noise, and then you'll hear this. There's the stick, and then it goes quiet. You hear the boom and the stick, and it goes quiet, right? There's more analysis to be done because I think the amount of quiet that follows and how long it lasts may be related to how loud the bullet was, but I don't know. More analysis to be done. Not clear on that at this stage. But let's listen to it now so we just understand this process. Quiet. Bullet in the report. Another bullet coming. Bullet. And here's the last shot. Okay. So if you heard that along with me, what we heard was, hard to, I know, it's just like, what kind of crazy, what is that? Are we listening to the universe, Chris? But there's this quiet period that happens right after each of these shots. And it's in one of those quiet periods here, like this is what it looks like. This is the sniper round that comes at the end. Super energetic. It had twice as long of a dead spot because the mic must have been like this one really freaked the mic out. It had a big, long, crazy dead spot. But here's what it looks like. These are the reports that should have been right here, but they would have shown up on the Trump mic during a time when the microphone had deadened itself. Okay. Oops. Jeez, there I go again. So this is the report 6. This is report 7 lined up with Trump's timeline. It should have been here, but it's in the dead spot because the bullet had gone over just before and created a dead spot, another dead spot here. Okay. And again, this is the final sniper round. And you can see here a super energetic giant and a big old quiet spot right afterwards. So this confused me because every time I'd been listening to it, I heard the bullet. I'm like, well, where's the report? It should be right there. Like, boom, where's the boom? Well, the boom is lost in this one because, again, there was a dead zone in there because of the mic, how the microphone functioned. So interesting artifact, but now we can explain it. So we're absolutely positive that this is the sniper round because what would have happened here, shot 10 would have been taken from here. It was going to here. It passed right over the top of Trump's microphone. We can then be sure that when a shot is that many feet away, and it's a 308 or a 300 Win Mag, whatever those guys were using, don't know yet. But that's a big, fat, energetic round, and that thing left a heck of a snap. So we at least know you can be shooting this far off axis with a 308 and leave a heck of a snick that deadens the mic. So now I don't know. The next things we have to analyze around that are, of those 5 shots that were shot rapid fire in this direction, how far away from the mic could they be while still leaving these snicks that we see all over the supersonic cracks? Okay. So conclusions for today are that shots 1 through 3 are entirely inconsistent with shots 4 through 8. They just don't sound the same, especially from those sound files to the side. I have another one, which I call the Get Over Here, Ross video. I didn't subject you to that one. Let's just say that one's really noisy. But you can still hear when you listen through all that noise, the same thing. The first 3 are very quiet. And then the next 5 are much louder and have a very different case sort of signature. They just sound entirely different. And then, of course, that 9th one, entirely different. So shots 1 through 3 are inconsistent at this stage with the audio we have with shots 4 through 8. And that's why I put out that video a week ago and I said, wow, looks like there's 2 shooters here. Well, now we have to open up that there are in fact 4 guns we have to account for, which includes 1 through 3, 4 through 8, those 5 shots. Then we have shot 9, which is another weapon, and then we have the sniper at the end, which is another weapon. So 2 of those, I believe, are law enforcement, but because of bullet point 2, that in shot number 9 is entirely distinct and is probably the ESU sniper, well, now we have questions. Where was that shot taken from? And why weren't more shots taken? And why weren't shots taken before the other shots were taken? And who was in that room on the 2nd floor These are questions that absolutely have to be answered, and that's where I would focus my investigation if I were investigating this. Shot number 10, clear and unequivocally, that's the Secret Service sniper on roof number 2. And we therefore remain concerned that this investigation is not yet being conducted properly. Requests from the Citizen Investigation team, if you can help us out, please. We need any and all additional footage, anything with audio from anywhere, but especially from the side of the AGR complex over where we saw 4 and 5. But anything around those buildings, any audio that's close to or around those buildings is going to be super helpful, especially if you have video. Anybody who's got video that points that direction, we really need to know. We need help identifying exactly what Trump's mic is, explaining the gating we hear so we can just put that in the bag, get that on the shelf. That'll be done. The analysis is done. We've explained why shots are missing. Clear that up. We want to help, any help you can offer anybody out there, professional audio analysis to help resolve echoes, determine if we can really say that shots 1 through 8 came from different locations based on echoes, based on tonal characteristics, anything we can do from an audio standpoint to either prove or disprove that shots 1 through 8 came from one or from 2 weapons. Currently, the best hypothesis, the best way to fit the data says 2 separate weapons. And finally, any video or shots of the AGR buildings immediately before, again, so we can determine the open close status of those windows. These could be pictures too, okay? Especially if you took a nice this thing, the Samsung S23, takes glorious pictures, super high def. So if I took a picture of somebody, it's possible we could expand that and really see something very clearly in the background as to whether those windows were open or not. So with that, thank you very much for listening. Thank you everybody who's been involved in the Citizens investigation. Keep going. We are changing the direction of history, and it needs changing. Thank you so much. We'll keep on it, and we'll be back with you with our next installment as soon as we can. Bye for now.